Well, welcome to the Game Changer Performance Podcast. As always, excited that you are here, that we are on this journey together. And I'm really excited about who we have today, who I get to sit down and talk with. He's somebody who is a former teammate, great friend, and somebody who's really, I would say, leveraged his influence to really make a difference through investing and relationship building, a former NBA vet, and just an overall incredible man. I want to welcome Anthony Tolliver to the podcast. Anthony, what's up, bro? Good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me, brother. Thanks for having me on here, man. I've been waiting for the invite.
Well, hey, as always, fun to hang out, spend time. I'm sure we could reminisce for days on shared experiences. And honestly, it feels like just the other day we were roommates on road trips and like hanging out together. I mean, I'll never forget one of my core memories is just every night you would open up the Word and you'd get in the Word and you'd read and you had your habits and rhythms. And it just, man, it feels like just the other day we were in college playing ball together and hanging out on those road trips. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's every time I look around, people are talking about Creighton or people are talking about college and high school. And I'm like, dang, that was like 20 years ago.
Hey, I know this, we both lost our hair at different times, but I know I used to have a full head of hair and like I didn't have grays, in the beard like I do today. And
yeah,
few things have changed over the years, but a lot of good stuff, man. And that's what I'm excited to just talk about on our episode today. And then also, before I forget, excited to have you here in Omaha. Here September 12th. We've got our leadership lunch. You're going to be in person in Omaha and going to be having you share, do some interviewing with you. And I'm excited for people to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't get out and speak a ton anymore. I've kind of dialed that back, but really like to kind of cater to and only kind of reserve those for kind of specific situations and specific people that I want to be around. And I'm just super excited to get back to Omaha to spend some time with you and everybody else that is a part of everything that you're doing. And like I said, this is like a family thing for me. It's not as much business as just like a family matter, and just coming back and giving back to the community as much as I can and everything else. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about it. Like I said, I'm not on the speaking tour.
Not a stop on your speaking tour.
Right, like a bunch of I have a few friends who are on the road 2 or 3 times a week all over the country, and I was about to go down that path, but I decided no, I'm going to really dial that back and only do a few per year. So I'm excited to get out there and do this and have some fun, have some good talks and get interviewed.
Yeah. Well, even though you're not traveling a ton for speaking, I mean, when I think about you, you are probably one of the busiest guys I know. And whether you're on the road for work, investments, relationships, family, obviously both of us have kind of younger families. And so that requires a lot of time and attention. But also I know when you're at home, man, you got your earpiece in and you're talking to people and connecting with people. And so just anytime you take some time to, whether it's be with us on the podcast or come to Omaha, man, it's a huge deal. And I do want to talk about just kind of what life looks like today for you. And I mean, you finished playing probably a couple years ago from the NBA, and you played.
Yep.
How many years officially did you play in the NBA or professionally overseas?
So I played professionally for 14 years, and in 13 of those years, I was in the NBA, whether that be a little bit or a lot of it. But 13 years NBA, 14 years pro, played overseas, played in Germany, Turkey, played in the D League for 3 different teams. So truly have been a journeyman. Yeah. And I think at one point I did a count of how many teams I've played for total. And I think it's like 19.
Wow.
I got to go back and actually do the total, but I know I played for 11 teams in the NBA,
Wow.
three in the G League, so that's 14. Germany, Turkey, that's yeah. I mean, we're talking that's 16 there,
Wow.
and yeah, yeah. So at least 16. I think 16, 17, something like that.
Man.
It was a lot. It was a lot of
Yeah.
teams.
Well, and it's like those are, I mean, just thinking of the NBA, 11 different teams you played on. Those are 11 different cities you're living in with your family and relationships that you're building. One of the things that I've said about you consistently is I've never seen somebody who had such a vision to leverage their environment, their relationships, your business skills for the future. And so you weren't just playing on those teams, you were building towards the future through investments, through lifestyle. Talk to me about how did you have such a vision for the future? And you weren't just, playing in the NBA, you were really, I would say, using the platform God had given you for your life while you were there, but also for the future. What gave you that vision, understanding that, this basketball thing's not going to last forever? And so I really want to use the platform that I have.
Yeah, I mean, God has definitely blessed me with a lot of thinking, I guess. And sometimes you can say it's a blessing, and sometimes it's a curse. And I say a
Right.
curse, not really a curse, but really more a disadvantage because sometimes I catch myself not living in the present as much as I should.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm thinking about the future so much, I'm thinking about what's
Yeah.
next, the next steps. What do I have to do to? So when I was in middle school, I was preparing as if I'm trying to make the high school team,
Wow.
right? I wasn't really worried about thinking about the middle school team. I was like, but if I'm preparing myself like I should be preparing myself to make the high school team,
Yep.
middle school team is going to be easy.
Yep.
So I've always been a
Wow.
forward thinker. I've
Mm.
always been thinking about the next step and the next role I'm going to be playing.
Yep.
When I was in college, I didn't I played the five in college really almost the entire time. But in the off seasons, I was never shooting jump hooks. I was shooting
Right.
threes. I
Yep.
was guarding people on the wing because I knew I'm gonna make it to the NBA. I'm not going to be a center. I'm going to be a forward. I'm going to be a
Good.
three or a four. So I'm going to have to be able to shoot. I'm going to have to be able to guard these guards. And
Yep.
so, always kind of been that way. So when I made it to the NBA, I wasn't really thinking too much about, the NBA. I was thinking about what's life like after the NBA. So
Wow.
it always kept me kind of one step ahead
Mm.
of what most people would kind of view normal, right?
Yep.
I was always investing and thinking about what's next and kind of using the NBA as a catapult to the business career because I knew business career was going to be way longer, than my career.
Right.
So now I'm here. So, the daily is being able to pour into my family. So, it's part of the reason why, the things like, speaking engagements and stuff like that, I do very, very few of them because how
Yep.
much time it takes, right? So my time has become such a huge commodity for me, and it's something I
Yep.
take very seriously. I have the time to coach my kids in basketball or, be a part of, watch all their sports, if they play soccer, whatever.
Mm.
I'm here. I'm
Yep.
no longer on the road so much. And so prioritizing kid time, prioritizing wife time, making sure that those relationships are super strong. And then basically in between time, when I get a chance, uh, I tap into all the business things that I'm doing,
Yeah.
and making sure that those things are where they need to be. But trying to keep my priorities straight at all times.
Yep. I mean, that's such a gift to be forward thinking. And like you said, sometimes our greatest strengths can be our greatest weaknesses. And maybe, sometimes not being able to enjoy the present, but to constantly have that vision of being able to look ahead. I carry some of that gift sometimes too. And I see it in Juliana, who's, 10 years old. We're at home and she's like, "What are we doing next, Dad? What are we doing next?" And it's like, "All right, we're just hanging out. Well, what are we going to do after that?" And just reminds me of myself. And so hopefully she'll use that gift one of these days for good, not just questioning her dad all the time.
Oh yeah.
Um, but powerful gift. I know shortly after college, you also experienced some difficulty in your mom passing away. And how did that shape either the way you live, the way you looked at life? Was that a motivator even more to move beyond just basketball? How did your mom's passing impact your life?
Uh, I would say it accelerated manhood for me.
Yep.
Even though I was 23 years old, I would say before that I still had a very I would still would have called myself an immature man.
Mm,
By age, I was a man, 23 years old,
yeah.
but by like life experience, like I'm still very young, right? Just at that point, graduated college and all this different stuff, which was great, but it also was just I didn't know much about anything. I thought I did, but man, once that happened, I think first of all, I feel like when difficult things happen to people, it can either push them further into their faith or further away
Yeah.
from their faith. And for me, that event absolutely solidified my faith because
Mm,
without my faith in those moments, I would have absolutely lost it.
man.
100%. Like, my mom was kind of my everything, right? Like she was my biggest fan.
Yep.
I grew up with her, basically the only parent in the household. I grew up with a relationship with my dad, but he wasn't. They were divorced at a very young age, so I didn't really have much of a relationship with my dad
Yeah.
as much. But my mom was my road dog. That was my sidekick. That was
Yep.
my biggest fan. And so losing her and the whole motivation, honestly, to make it to the NBA was her. It was to make sure that she didn't have to work anymore, make sure that
Right.
she was able to take care of everything she wanted to take care of and do some dream stuff that she always wanted to do.
Yep.
But instead of doing the dream stuff, she was taking care of us, right? And so that's one of the things that really really motivated me was that.
Mm,
So going through that, it made me realize, first of all, just how incredibly um, futile life is.
yeah.
It's just you don't know, right? Life
Mm,
is just if you have faith, faith being kind of very foundational for me.
yep.
Like outside of that, all this other stuff really is. It's like it's nice.
Yep.
Like we have a nice house, we have a nice car, we go on nice vacations and all that stuff, but it's not none of that stuff defines me. None of that stuff
Right.
is what I live for.
Yep.
And so that is where the perspective of life's purpose, I think,
Yep.
became crystal clear.
It's good.
Um, and it really really helped me to mature and to grow into the man I am today.
Mm,
Now, I would have loved for the method to be different, right?
right.
To become that same man,
Yep.
but God knows better than I do, right? So at the end of the day, for me. It's like okay, like I don't understand it, but I don't have to understand it. You
Right.
know, I'm mature enough to understand that I'm not going to understand everything,
Right.
and I'm just going to trust and believe and obey and
Yep.
do what I can to help people.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, I think sometimes people look at you and see your story, your life, and how you've done things, but we don't always understand the challenges that people have gone through. And like you said, would have loved to not have had to lose your mom to maybe mature in certain ways or to accelerate certain aspects in your development process. But it is amazing how we serve a God that can use all things, and even tragedies and things we never want to happen can actually help propel us to move forward. And man, I don't know about you, but 23 seems very young today. The older I get, the more, a 23-year-old, it's like, man, that's pretty young.
Yeah,
And to
yeah,
lose the rock in your family, the person that you were living for, who, man, like you said, you're great. Like that is a young age to lose somebody you love and who's so instrumental in your life. And so looking back for me, I mean, you just see, I remember being at the funeral, but you just don't realize how important or pivotal those moments are in terms of life as a whole, and then even again in your growth and development.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
I was thinking you're connected to, invested in a lot of different businesses. I don't know what the number is, but it's probably as much or more than the number of NBA teams that you've played on. What was your first investment? Like what was your very first kind of investment where you're like, man, this is something I want to do and be strategic about?
So my very first investment was actually a piece of real estate.
Okay.
It was an investment property that I still own today, 1544 South John Street.
Yeah. You
um,
never forget your first.
no, I don't think I ever forget it. And I actually don't
Yeah.
ever plan on selling it. Like
Yeah.
it's like nostalgic now. It's like I drive by it when I'm back home, and I'm like, huh, isn't that
That's cool.
interesting. It's like it all started there. Whenever we talk about this, like an investment portfolio, but
Yeah.
that was the first investment I ever made, and it's just super important to me. It was after my first year,
Okay.
uh, to get save up enough money to get something
Yep.
invested, because growing up, my mom was a teacher,
Yep.
and we didn't have any extra. Like
Hmm.
but she did find a way to have. She had bought a house on the north side of town,
Okay.
and then whenever she bought the house that I grew up in, she kept the other house and just rented it out.
Yep.
So she did. So the very first thing, one of the very first things I saw as a kid, or kind of saw, my mom do, was go collect rent from renters. And
Wow.
so for me, it was normal. Like as a
Yep.
kid, I saw this every single month. I would drive
Wow.
across town with her. She'd go pick up a check
Hmm.
or cash from somebody who's staying in a house that she owns.
Wow.
And so real estate became something very, very normal for
Hmm.
me. And I was just like, well, that's what everybody does, right? That's what my
Wow.
mom does. So
Wow.
why
As
wouldn't
a
I do
teacher.
that? Right,
Yeah.
right. As a teacher, and so
Hmm.
obviously not making a lot of money, but she was still able to own multiple houses and rent out one. So to me, that was my first investment, and then my first kind of venture outside of real estate. It was actually Active Faith. So
Okay.
so the
Wow.
company shirt that I have on, Active Faith.
Yep.
Very first check I ever wrote to that
Wow.
would be considered venture,
What
was
year was
Active
that?
Faith. And so 2009,
Nine. That's
2000,
what I was thinking. 9, 10, maybe.
yeah, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
A long time
Right.
ago. And so it was, and that check was written in without really any expectation, because
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, I expect to make a 5% return for the 20 years. It's like, no, like this was all about Jesus, right? Like it was all about,
Yep.
hey, this brand is about Jesus. I want to see this brand succeed, and I
Yep.
want as many people as possible to be wearing these bracelets and to be wearing these shirts and to
Yep.
be repping, really awesome clothing with dope messaging on it. So that was the thought process from the jump. So those are my
Yep.
first two investments.
That's crazy. I didn't realize Active Faith was your second kind of investment outside of real estate. And
Yep.
yeah, just think of how that was such a faith investment and a seed. This is one of the few days I don't have my Active Faith gear on. Yeah, t-shirts that I got, man. I've had them for years, but I still rock them. Love the brand, obviously love the message. But I didn't realize that was like your second investment. So you go from real estate to merch
Mhm.
to, and I don't know where all this falls in, but fishing poles that were in Walmart, Players TV. I mean, your portfolio, I don't even know if you know how many big blanket, how
Yep.
many different types of streams of investment that you have, but it's just been cool to see you. And I feel like all of them have been faith investments in the sense of it's like, all right, there's a connection here, a connection here. God's opened up a door. What's going through your mind, or what's your process as you're looking into investing into something or someone?
Yeah, man. I mean, over the years, the process has been refined, right?
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot. I have definitely learned by making a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
Um, I've, kind of started out just being investing only in the person, right? Like, oh, I love this person
Yep.
and love what they're trying to get done, so I'm in, right?
Yep.
Then I got burned a few times through doing that, right? Where it's like, well, that's not enough, right?
Yeah.
You need strategic plans. You need other investors who are going to back you if something goes wrong,
Yep.
because I can't be the only check writer.
Right.
And so just over time, man, I've definitely learned what fits me best.
Yep.
I was for 15 years, I was investing in new companies, brand new companies, startup
Okay.
companies, and all that stuff. And some of the ones you just talked about are a few of the ones who have done well,
Yep.
for sure. But definitely have a few that have not done well, right?
Yeah.
That no one really knows about because those
Right.
companies didn't go well.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of just kind of refining that whole process for me. I still believe in people. I still trust in people.
Yep.
But man, trust but verify, right? And
Yep.
that's kind of been I was really big into trust
Hmm.
for over a decade, close to two, right? Almost my
Yep.
entire philosophy was really built on trust. And
Hmm.
then after getting burned a few times, I'm like, okay, there needs to be a little bit more
Yep.
verification.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
real. Yeah.
but it's I just view it like, hey, I'm 20 years old, blessed in a very favorable financial position,
Yeah.
and with a lot of mistakes under my belt.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, that's setting me up to be extremely successful for the next 40 years.
Yep. Yep.
I
That's
got
good.
I have a very, you know, very clear path of things that I've done that I won't do again, which really sets, I believe, me and my family up to do really well moving forward because of all the mistakes I was able to make and
Yep.
everything else, and learning from those and making those same mistakes again.
100%. And I'll just say this as somebody who has had a front row seat through family and our relationship to see what you've done. You've been extremely generous to everything from organizations like ours to people that we know to even how you're setting up investment platforms for, groups of people to help them grow what they're doing. To, I mean, you started a family foundation, and even recently, talk about what your family was a part of recently to raise money. But I love how you involved your kids and you really went on this journey to help them try to understand what other families and individuals are going through in other countries. Talk about recently what you did through your foundation with your family.
Yeah, so Tolliver Family Foundation, we established it a couple years ago. I mean, for years, me and my wife would donate and support different organizations and do all kinds of giving because that's just
Yep.
kind of what we do. We love giving. We love being a blessing to other people.
Mm.
But what we realize is that, hey, we really want this to be a part of our family foundation, and
Yep.
meaning like not the foundation, but the actual foundation of who are you as a Tolliver.
Yep.
So our
That's so
kids,
good.
as they grow up, like understanding that, like, okay, you're in our household. There's certain things that fly, right, and there's certain things that don't fly.
Yep.
Um, we're not going to be a lake. We're going to be a river.
It's
Like, we're
good.
not going to be, we're not going to allow God to bless us, and then it just like comes in and just sits and it's stagnant, and we don't
Yep.
do anything with it. It's going to flow. It's going to flow from us,
Yep.
through us to somebody else.
Mm.
Um, and so the foundation is kind of the way that we decided that, hey, we're going to build these habits. We're going to show our kids not just by cutting checks,
Mm.
not just by supporting these organizations and stuff,
Yep.
uh, across the world or whatever, and never going and do anything about it, and actually being and serving with our hands.
Right.
And so, we've just kind of kept our kids involved in everything. Like just yesterday, we went and served at a local food shelter, packing boxes for
Love it.
food insecure kids.
Yep.
And we make it very clear to our kids, hey, we're packing these
Mm.
boxes for other kids, but kids that are literally in your school district. Like
Right.
you might not know some of the kids that are in your school. They come here on a regular basis to get
Yep.
food because they don't get food from anywhere else. And so,
So good.
so these are things that we're trying to actively do now. Specifically, what you talked
Mm.
about was the water well.
Yep.
We've been giving to World Serve International for years, and we've me and Jess went to Africa a couple years ago to check out our well, we named after my mom, and it was amazing. It was phenomenal. And so we're like, we got to bring our kids. So
Yep.
we started talking to our kids about Africa, started talking to them about going there, checking out the wells, and kind of like just how joyful the kids in those villages
Man.
were whenever we pull up, and they're joyful about water,
Yep.
just clean, drinkable water.
Mm.
And so just having real conversations with our kids
Yeah.
to say, like, how does that make you feel? Like, how do you, like, oh, I want to save water. I want to make sure that, I want to, now then it turned into, we want to raise money to try to do one of those, like what, like a
Yep.
well. And they're like, yeah, okay. So
Good.
how are we going to do this? So then we have conversations. So that turned into, recently we did a walk. A couple months ago, we did a walk, this
Yep.
3.8-mile walk as
Mm.
a family, and we
So good.
made it a kind of a month-long fundraiser, and we were able to raise over $20,000
Come on, man.
as a family towards that well. And
Yep.
so basically, the idea and the thought is hopefully by the end of the year we can raise 50,000
Mm.
to build a well, and so
Yep.
then our kids will be at the forefront of that. And so then the thought is to take them there the following year to see the well
Wow.
that they raise money for, and see the villages and the kids that they affected directly.
Wow.
And so it's not about
Yeah.
just cutting checks, right? It's
Yep.
about establishing based habit of giving and
Yep.
of being generous and of being servants. Because cutting a check is a form of being a servant,
Right.
but cutting a check is so much different. And I think
Yep.
it's not less important, right? It's
Right.
not, because
Right.
you need funds to do things.
For sure.
But man, getting our kids in these environments,
Yep.
we can see the change. We can see the light bulbs clicking, and that's what we're trying to be super intentional about.
Yep. So good, man. I feel like number one, we're just scratching the surface of just
Yeah.
all the things you've been a part of, just your perspective on so many different areas, from generosity to investment to just even, man, processing pain and challenges in life. I just keep going back to, I'm so excited to have you here September 12th for the leadership lunch. And somebody told me recently there's a difference between information and impartation.
Mm,
Information is something we can hear and receive, but impartation happens when we're in proximity to people who have something to impart into our lives. And I think about you, man. Number one, I think about it for me personally, but also for others. God has so gifted you, anointed you, and I think has given you something that can be imparted into other people. I think generosity is one of those things. I think, and stewardship, really leveraging and stewarding what God gives us for the purpose of impacting the world around us. And so, again, I just want to invite people, encourage people, September 12th, the leadership lunch. We'll have information. Make sure you sign up, make sure you get here, because I know you'll be incredibly encouraged, but also I believe God wants to impart something into all of our lives. And so just want to encourage people in that. Last kind of question, maybe there's two questions here. Bro, you got to see the Pope,
yep.
and you and your wife. were invited. A small group of players from the NBA Players Association got to go and visit the Pope. I mean, has to be one of the most influential, if not the most influential person you've been around. I want to just, tell us about that experience, being in proximity to somebody like that. What was that like? And then the second part of that question, is there anybody else that if you could spend a day with them and learn from them and be around them, have them impart something into your life, who would that person be? So first talk about the Pope, and then maybe secondly, is there anybody else that you'd say, man, I'd want to spend time learning from them?
Yeah. So, yeah, me and Kyle Corver, we
Yep.
both had a chance to go do that, and so Creighton was well represented when it
Man,
came to being in the room with the Pope.
hey,
Um,
by the way, my phone started blowing up. They're like, "Did you know Anthony and Kyle are going to visit the Pope?" And like, a newspaper guy called me and was asking me. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, but sounds amazing. They didn't
yeah,
invite me.
no,
That's all
it
I know.
was. Yeah, it was definitely a really crazy last minute, like, hey, are you in or you out? Like,
Yeah.
we're leaving in 24 hours from now type of
Wow.
situation. You're flying to, yeah, to Rome. Um, but it was yeah, it was definitely a really cool experience. I didn't grow up Catholic
Right.
so I didn't really, to tell you the truth, I really didn't understand the magnitude of meeting the
Yeah.
Pope as much. Like, I
Yeah.
knew the Pope was an important person, right? Like, I knew that that was kind
Right.
of the head honcho of the church.
Yep.
But it just, when I got the opportunity, I'm really big on experiencing life to the fullest.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, well, within my ethical realm, right? Like, I'm not about to go do crazy stuff that has, that's against who I am as a person.
Right.
But basically, anything that is like considered a life experience,
Yep.
and I have an opportunity to do it, and yeah, like, I just try to do it. I try to be the yes guy.
Yep.
And so whenever I got presented that opportunity, I just said yes and said, I'll figure out the details. I'm not worried about it. But
Yeah.
it was a really cool experience. We thought we were kind of going there for more of a dialogue, but it was more of a monologue. He kind
Yeah.
of spoke to us. Didn't
Yeah.
really get a chance to ask too many questions or anything like that. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, I mean, to have an experience like that, to be able to shake the Pope's hand and meet him and
Right.
literally sit, 5 feet from him and have a discussion. And
Yep.
he's actually really a pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
A very good sense of humor and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good. It was, like I said, it was a very unique situation, very unique opportunity. And
Yep.
second, the second part of that question, who would I sit down with? So the first person I thought about when you asked that question is actually someone who I've been in proximity with,
Yeah.
um, but I haven't like had a one-on-one time with him. David Green from
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby.
Oh yeah.
So he's a founder and CEO of Hobby Lobby, and
Yep.
so I was able to go to a lunch with him. It was like 10 couples
Okay.
and him, and went to a luncheon and just got a chance to hear more of his story and kind of everything
Yep.
else. Now I've read a couple of his books,
Okay.
and he's definitely one of those people that I truly admire.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
the dude has made billions of dollars, billions,
Hmm.
and chooses to live a very simple life.
Wow.
I don't think his salary has changed in 25 years.
Wow.
And but his life goal is to just give and give
Hmm.
and give, and specifically give to kingdom focused business and
Wow.
opportunities and activities.
Hmm.
So, like, his giving has resulted in, like, supported, I'm talking like thousands of different events and
Wow.
things. For example, every single one of us who are believers, I'm almost certain every single one of us has an app that they supported, the Bible app.
Wow.
The Bible app was, I believe, the original funding came from the Green family.
Wow. I did not know that.
And
Wow.
Yes, and so and then all these different events all across the world, revival events and everything else that
Yeah.
they've sponsored and that they've put money into. That's
Wow.
been, that's been them.
Yep.
And I'm just like, they have like a little museum at in Oklahoma where their headquarters is,
Okay.
and you walk through this thing, wow, you talk about impact.
It shows all the things that they've kind of invested in, been a part of.
Yes,
Wow.
but you would never know it because they don't make it known. And that's the thing
Right.
is, that's
Wow.
that's my favorite part about how he's done this. It's not about
Wow.
him.
That's
Not
right.
about him. He could easily be one of the most um,
He could be
admired.
boasting, promoting himself.
Yes, he
Yeah.
could be one of the most admired humans on the planet because of
Right.
how much they give and how many people's lives they've affected. And
Right.
he could go be,
Hmm.
a ministry head and be, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's all these
Yep.
different things that he could get out of it. But like, bro, he's in the background. Hey,
Wow.
nobody really knows much about David.
Wow.
And I'm like, dog, that's me. That's what I
Wow.
want to be. I want to be someone who
That's good.
I want to live my life. I want to enjoy it. I probably will do a little bit more vacations than David, but
Maybe my salary a little more.
yeah,
No,
maybe a couple more dollars on the salary. You know what I'm saying?
that's
But
good, man.
but other than that, bro, like I just he has he has influenced me heavily
Wow.
just through his books and through those interactions and
Hmm.
we said impartation, right? Since
Yep.
that
That's
luncheon
huge.
impartation that I received from him
Wow.
has been, God's not blessing me, and I knew this, but
Yeah.
it's the difference between um, knowledge and
Yep.
implementation, right? Like, and knowing something and doing something.
That's right.
And so, knowing that God's not blessing me just for me and blessing me
Right.
just for my wife and my kids,
Yep.
blessing me and us so that we can bless others.
That's right.
Um, and it's like, well, what does that look like, right? It's like cutting checks. Okay, great.
Yep.
I've been cutting
Yep.
checks for years. But like,
Yep.
how do we build a foundation? How do we build a structure that literally has the ability to
Right.
withstand the test of time
Yep.
and be self-sustaining and
Hmm.
give forever? Like
That's right.
when I talk about generational wealth, this is, and we could talk for hours about that in
Yep.
another, but like generational wealth to me has completely transformed
Yep.
from stacking money and doing these things to pass on to my kids and all this stuff.
Yep.
Like that's great. There's nothing wrong with passing money down to your kids and
Right.
giving them the opportunity to be successful. Nothing
Right.
wrong with it. That is not my primary whatsoever.
Yep.
Um, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations from now, I hope and pray that the Tolliver Family Foundation is still sustained
Hmm.
and that it's still giving and it's
That's
still
good.
building the kingdom. Like that is
Good.
that is the biggest piece of the generational wealth that I want to pass
Hmm.
down.
So good, bro. So good. And I mean, again, I feel like we're just scratching the surface, but you start talking about just, his life and how he's influenced you. And I see such a connection, correlation, and just your heart and your family's heart to be generous and to give back and to really have, I'd say, kingdom investments. And I think about too, man, God calls us all to play different roles. And you think about the Bible app, and there's some people that that the Bobby Grunwalds of the world who help with the technology and creation, but it takes funding, and it takes significant funding to see an app like that travel around the world. I'm on
Yep.
that app every day, and I had
Every
no
day.
clue
Every
he
day.
was one of the primary investors. But I just see how, man, God has a different role for all of us, and it's responding, saying yes to it, and to see you continue to respond, continue to grow and learn and be in the situation you are. That's why I just have so much respect. And every time, I'm on social media and I see some of the things that you guys are doing and the impact that you're having, like, I mean, basketball was cool, bro, but I got way more excitement just because I think the best days are ahead, and the impact that you guys are having is life, ultimately life changing. And so, again, excited to get you to Omaha September 12th. Excited to dive deeper into some of the things that we're talking about. I truly believe it's going to be transformational for those who are in the room, able to be a part of it. And just grateful for you for the time today, but also coming to Omaha. If anybody wants to kind of keep up with some of the stuff that you're doing, follow you, social media, stay connected, maybe even invest, man, in the Tolliver Family Foundation, what are some of the best ways to stay connected?
Yeah, so my website, anthonytolliver.me, kind of has as far as social medias, my foundation is on there, all that type of stuff. My Instagram is kind of the one I'm on the most. It's a Tolliver 44.
Yep.
I would say those two places, you're going to be able to get a hold of me or tap in with me pretty much through
Yep.
those two, anthonytolliver.me and A Tolliver 44 on Instagram.
So cool. Well, brother, all I can say is I appreciate you, man. Love you. Grateful for you. Excited to get you here. And I know this, anybody who tuned into this episode is walking away with something to get better, to grow. And I believe ultimately to make more of a difference in the world. So thanks for taking the time with us today, Anthony. thanks for everybody who's been listening. And I hope you'll tune in to previous episodes, but also to future ones that we have. God bless you and have a good rest of the day.